Good morning, and thank you to the organizers for asking Mesoblast to present. Today, my discussion will focus on the late-stage product development activities that have taken place over the past year and describe how we have evolved from a translational company to a late-stage development company. Mesoblast is a publicly traded company, and hence this cautionary statement. Mesoblast was founded in 2004. It is an Australian company with a strong base in the U.S. We are traded on the Australian Stock Exchange. About 50% of our ownership is institutional investors, the other rest being split between retail management and strategic investors. Our platforms consist of a number of proprietary core technologies. The first is culture-expanded mesenchymal stem cells, which are being developed to induce rapid clinical responses following frequent multi-dose administration systemically. This product line is also known as Prochymal. It was acquired from Osiris about a year ago. We're also developing highly purified immunoselected positive mesenchymal precursor cells, and they're being developed to generate more durable clinical outcomes following single dose or, in some cases, intermittent administration, which may be given locally or systemically. We're also in ongoing development of therapeutic applications using dental pulp stem cells, and we also have a line of expanded hematopoietic stem cells where we use the mesenchymal cells as a feeder layer to expand hematopoietic cells. Product lifestyle extension, developing next generation products is ongoing to demonstrate modified stem cell therapies. There have been a number of significant achievements to date. The company is about 10 years old, and over this period of time, we've successfully translated 3 cell-based technology platforms for a number of applications. We have a robust IP portfolio of over 60 patent family, and this provides us with long-term commercial protection for mesenchymal lineage cells. The portfolio of allogeneic regenerative medicine products includes 5 programs that are in phase 3 or are phase 3 ready. Throughout our development, evidence-based mechanisms of action have supported clinical translation. We've also established strong strategic partnerships which are critical for enhancing commercial success. And our capital market support provides a strong balance sheet for which us to develop a number of platforms simultaneously. 5 corporate strategic imperatives have helped delineate the areas of focus that are critical for transitioning from a translational company to a commercial late-phase company. Those are clinically differentiated products. So as I talk, previously we talked more about indications, and now we're defining the products and then the indications that are lead or secondary within those product lines. We're focusing on bringing our late-stage products to market. We're working on enabling manufacturing scale-up to meet the demands of the portfolio. And all this has to be done by leveraging and expanding the talent base to continue to establish a culture of shared leadership and accountability, and to continue to build strategic partnerships, maintain those existing partnerships, and establish new partnerships. This is a slide of our robust development portfolio. We have a number of programs, as I mentioned, that are now in phase 3 or phase 3 ready. They're also described now as Tier 1 and Tier 2 products. The Tier 1 products are those that we're focusing on bringing to the market in the nearest term. Those are products with midterm revenue streams. They are the MSCs utilized in the management of graft versus host disease, which will be developed as a halo niche product. It's the nearest to market. The premium priced with the peak year sales are estimated at about $250 million. The next product is mesenchymal precursor cells, which are used in chronic discogenic low back pain. It's a low-dose product with a large market, with peak year sales estimated at over $2 billion. And MPCs are also being developed for congestive heart failure. And that is an area with a large market, a high value. It's a partnered program, and the peak year sales for that program are estimated at over $2 billion as well. The Tier 2 products are part of our robust technology portfolio. They're progressing on to the next decision or inflection point. Many of them are targeted for partnership, and they're capable of acceleration into phase 3. And then we have an emerging pipeline where we have a number of programs in early stage development and ongoing preclinical work. To discuss a little bit more about the Tier 1 products, I'll start first with graft versus host disease, which is nearest to market. This product, MSC100IV, is a mesenchymal lineage product. It's delivered by intravenous injection. The product dose is 100 million cells. It's in development for pediatric and adult patients with acute graft versus host disease following allogeneic hematopoietic stem cell transplants who have failed to respond to steroid treatment. The market opportunity is defined by the 30,000 patients who undergo an allogeneic stem cell transplant annually each year, and that's a global number. About 25% of those are pediatric transplants. Half of those patients will develop graft versus host disease, and about half of those who develop it may not respond to steroids. So that's defining the patient population. This complication of transplantation is both serious and life-threatening, and it is also a very costly condition to manage in a medical sense, and so the estimated cost of managing complicated transplant patients is about $845,000 to $1 million if patients develop steroid-resistant graft versus host disease. There are no approved treatment options for steroid-resistant GVHD. It has a dismal prognosis. For the severe forms, mortality can reach 85%. Those are the patients who have grades C and D, and often they have liver and gut complications of disease. There are no currently approved therapies for steroid refractory patients. A number of off-label regimens are used, and they've demonstrated mixed efficacy and variable toxicity. So there remains a significant need for new treatment with a favorable risk-benefit profile for the management of steroid-resistant graft versus host disease. The targeted physician population is defined by the patient population. These are physicians who manage transplant programs, this is a defined audience with a commercial footprint for lead launch in pediatrics. There are about 68 centers in the U.S. that conduct pediatric allogeneic hematopoietic stem cell transplants, and 50% of all the transplants are concentrated in 12 centers and key metropolitan areas. Graft versus host disease, as you may have recently heard, has been licensed to JCR Pharmaceuticals in Japan for development of GVHD. They recently filed for registration with the PMDA in Japan, and they're under priority review there given the orphan drug disease status of this indication. This product has also been conditionally approved in Canada as well as New Zealand, and launches in those two jurisdictions are planned. We've also recently had positive discussions with the FDA defining the pathway for accelerated approval for pediatric GVHD. Additional clinical data are planned for pediatrics with open label phase 3 pediatric trial looking at patients who are steroid resistant and who are not receiving any other therapy for the management of GVHD. And we're also considering a confirmatory phase 3 program in adults, which will likely focus on gut and liver subsets of disease. Based on the timelines for clinical development, BLA filing and registration are estimated around 2016. The next Tier 1 product is our MPC product for chronic discogenic low back pain. This program is in development for the treatment of back pain that lasts for greater than 6 months as a result of moderate degenerative intervertebral disc disease. The market opportunity is some that many of us are very familiar with. It is defined by the number of people who have chronic low back pain, and the estimates for the U.S. are approaching 21.9 million patients by the year 2022. About 55% of patients with chronic low back pain seek treatment, and 40% of those patients have a discogenic cause. And as you can see by the pie chart, slightly over half of them have this disease symptomatology due to moderate degenerative disc disease. There's a real gap in treatment options for these patients. For the patients who fail conservative treatment, which is rest and analgesics, and epidural steroids, treatment options are limited to highly invasive therapies such as disc fusion and disc replacement. Additionally, surgeons report to us that approximately 40% of patients ultimately fail back surgery in terms of the amount of pain relief they achieve and improvement of function that's expected. For this indication, the targeted physician population is specialists who are treating back pain, and those we've identified as pain management specialists, anesthesiologists, and some orthopedic and spine surgeons. So this program is positioned to fill a significant treatment gap after conservative treatment options have failed. MPC 150-IM is a mesenchymal precursor product used for congestive heart failure. This is also in late phase development. It's currently in phase 3 trial. The market opportunity for this indication is 5.1 million people in the U.S. who are diagnosed with heart failure. There are 825,000 new cases diagnosed each year, and this is growing at a rate of 10%. Mortality of these patients is approximately 50% at 5 years. But it's also a condition of chronic deterioration and loss of function marked by frequent hospitalizations for patients with severe disease. So we're targeting heart failure patients with NYHA class 2 and 3 who have low ejection fractions, and that's about 40% of all heart failure patients. For this patient population, there remains a gap in treatment options. Despite standard of care using pharmacological agents, class 2 and 3 patients continue to be at high risk of repeated hospitalizations and eventual mortality. For the advanced patients with class 4 disease, their treatment options are heart transplantation and mechanical support, such as those provided by LVAD devices. This indication also has a defined targeted physician population. These are specialists who are heart failure specialists, interventional cardiologists, and cardiac surgeons. The dose of therapy for this indication is 150 million cells. It is delivered by an intramyocardial injection via a catheter. In order to meet the demands of a growing late-phase pipeline, we have had to define objectives for commercial scale manufacturing to meet these needs. These objectives are to distinguish the manufacturing processes for each process, to scale up for commercialization with batch-to-batch consistencies and reproducible release criteria. We need to ensure that commercial product supply is aligned with the projected market needs for the indications. To do this, we have established a production hub in Singapore, a program for scaling up in 3D bioreactors, and additional programs for optimizing the cost of goods. In addition to meeting the commercial needs for supporting these programs, we have an intricate strategy regarding identifying and enhancing IP for the programs. This IP uncovers composition of matter, manufacturing processes, and indications. And it's an ongoing evaluation of the existing IP, the IP that might be required in order to advance to second and later generation technologies, and also to expand our programs as well as expanding indications as appropriate for the goals of the company. Resources have also been addressed within the last year to ensure that Mesoblast is able to adequately transition from a translational to commercial phase company. We've built significant internal resources with hiring over the past 12 months. That has meant building up staff in both the New York offices and the Singapore office, as well as some corporate additional staff. We also have a number of strategic partnerships. We've previously discussed manufacturing partnerships with Lonza, as well as a recent partnership with the Economic Development Board in Singapore. We now have development partners with both Quintiles and a branch of the NIH for clinical development progression. And we have commercialization partners, Teva, for development of heart failure and cardiovascular indications with the MPC product, as well as the partnership with JCR Pharmaceuticals in Japan for GVHD. And we're considering and looking for partners for the low back pain due to discogenic disease program. The outlook for the next 12 months. For GVHD, which is a condition of clear unmet need, we have near-term milestones, the first of which is the pediatric trial recruitment to support BLA filing for accelerated approval pathway. We'll also conduct a parallel study in adults with GVHD, primarily those with liver and gut complications. We've embarked on commercial manufacturing campaigns to support these product launches, and the JCR pharmaceutical partner registration, which recently occurred in Japan, is now being reviewed. For the discogenic low back pain program, these are patients who have few options for medical therapy. We will commence and actively recruit the phase 3 program in North America. The heart failure program, which is a significant market opportunity, is currently in phase 3, so we will continue recruiting that large 1,730 patient phase 3 trial in New York Heart Association Class 2 and 3 heart failure patients across North American sites. We are planning interim analysis. We'll assess safety and surrogate efficacy endpoints, the efficacy endpoints being for heart failure MACE. And we are embarking on recruitment of an NIH-funded trial in advanced NYHA Class 4 heart failure. The Tier 2 products in the pipeline will continue to recruit. Decision points will be evaluated for those studies as they complete, and those areas are type 2 diabetes, diabetic kidney disease, Crohn's disease, and rheumatoid arthritis. And we also have Tier 1 programs that are in progress, and we're focusing on strategic alliances and other funding sources for those programs to get us to decision points and enhancing commercial success. Thank you very much for your attention.